What's going on, people? Welcome to another In Motion Football live stream. My name is Alam, and today we are going to do a playoff ranking. We are going to do one last check-in on every team in the NFL. I finally found a set of tiers that I think will cultivate a good conversation about every team in the NFL that we have to talk about. We're not going to talk about teams that are out of playoff contention because they're literally about to be irrelevant in about, 5 days? So yeah, we're gonna lock in on the teams that still have something to play for, and check in with them and where they're at. We're gonna preview Week 18, and then the next time I see you will be Saturday, I think. We'll see though. Okay, Sai's in here. Shout out to Sai. Hope you're all good. I said have a wonderful year, and not for the Eagles. Damn. Okay, when you wish somebody a wonderful year, you're wishing 2026, right? I was trying to catch him, see if I could catch him and being like, you know what? It doesn't matter what you wish for the Eagles for 2025 because it's about to be done. But I think this is about 2026. So you know what, Sai? I hope Andy Reid retires. I see my dog CP's in here. Good to see you, bro. But yeah, happy new year to everybody in here. Let's get right to it. Ranking teams. So I found a viral tweet in the NFL world today talking about the different teams in the NFL in the playoffs with these categories in mind. And I've talked about how frustrating it is to kind of like think about contenders because I don't really necessarily love any teams at this point, and no teams kind of come across as strong contenders. So TK's coming back. Kelsey's coming back. No way. What makes you think this? But yeah, I finally found these tiers. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so I can access the teams. Okay, I'm going to start with the teams that have no chance. Why the hell are the Browns up? I think this order got... I initially set up a good order. Okay, let me get the non-playoff teams at the back of the list here. Saints, Raiders, Cowboys, Colts, Dolphins. Get the hell out of here. Lions too. Vikings, Cardinals, Chiefs. Surprisingly, never thought I'd be doing this. Okay, Washington. Also, you got to go. Who got stuck here? Hold on. Browns, Falcons, Saints, Raiders, Cowboys. Wait, is there any team that's still in playoff contention? Anyways, I'll figure it out because there's 1, 2. I think this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, perfect. All right, let's get into it. Teams that I think have no chance. So these are teams that are in the playoffs, but I think they have no chance of winning a Super Bowl. I'm going to fill this tier up now. I think the Panthers have no chance of winning a Super Bowl. Yeah, I think making the playoffs is their Super Bowl, but for understandable reasons, don't have the Panthers winning a Super Bowl. Sorry, not that I don't have them winning a Super Bowl. I think they have no chance. They're just there to make up the numbers. Green Bay, you know what? I don't think they necessarily belong there with the Panthers. No, you know what, man? Micah Parsons and Tucker Kraft being out, that is too difficult. I'm sorry, but the Packers are not winning a Super Bowl. Like, again, the point of this conversation is to establish probability in a way. And yeah, I think the probability is pretty damn small for the Packers. Yeah, they're basically the same team they were last year, which was the same team they were the year before. Micah Parsons was the big addition, and he's obviously not on the team anymore. So I think that's a big loss. And I saw what they looked like as a 7 seed last year. So all things considered, I do not have the Packers having a chance to win a Super Bowl. Okay, hold on. I'm trying to get to the bottom teams first. Okay, like Tampa Bay, you have to go here as well. They're 1-7 in their last few games. Like, there's no chance. There's no chance. I'm sorry. Pittsburgh, same thing, dude. Pittsburgh, just not good enough, man. Lack of weapons. Rodgers isn't really clicking. The defense has their ups and downs. Like this, the Steelers have no chance. Okay. Baltimore. You know what? I'm putting Baltimore in there as well. You know what? Baltimore has no chance. I don't think. The defense is too suspect. Lamar isn't healthy. The play calling is weird. Like it would be different if Lamar was healthy and we knew that they were going to get Derrick Henry the ball 25 times a game, but we don't know that's the case. So I would say that they fall into the no chance category. Now, the teams that I'm considering for no chance, the Chargers, the Bears, and I guess the Jaguars. But I think I'm gonna put them all in would shock me because no, you know what? Let me think this through a little bit more. The thing about the Bears is I don't think this tier is meant for them. Like the Bears have they've had some, like they're playing well. You know what though? That defense, the way the defense played. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna start out that tier with these three teams. Chargers, Jaguars, Bears. So again, these teams, it would shock me. Like this is a thing where it's like I don't think their chances are 0, but I think their chances are pretty low, and it's for different reasons. With the Chargers, the thing I like about them is I actually like the fact that they have a Marion Hampton back. I think Herbert's playing good ball. What I don't like about that team is that the offensive tackle situation is a disaster, and they still have the Chargers issues going on. Like the Chargers are still a cursed team, right? Like we have to see that change in order to believe it. So yeah, I mean, I think that's why they have to be here. I wouldn't put them in no chance just because at the end of the day, they still have Harbaugh and Herbert. And the way Herbert's playing, I think he belongs as a justifier for thinking a team has somewhat of a chance. The reason the Jaguars are here in the would shock me tier is that, again, they're playing pretty good football right now, right? So their chances aren't 0 for that. Like they're playing good enough, them and the Bears, playing good enough football to where I can't put you in the no chance category. But I think both these teams are new. Both these teams are in year 1 with their coaches. There's just an experience and a been there, done that factor that's missing with both these teams. So they fall in would shock me. Okay. Well, how much can I zoom in here? Because Houston is the cutoff team, right? Okay, I think I can do here. Other teams that I would put here, I would put New England here. I would put New England. I would put these three teams. No. The teams I'm debating at this point are Seattle and San Francisco, but I think both those teams can probably go into one tier higher. But yeah, the reason the Patriots are here are, again, actually a lot of the same things that I said about Jacksonville and Chicago, right? But I mean, yeah, this is a team that's pretty early into their like they're very early into being a good team again. Drake May's in his second year. And then my other drawback with the Patriots is that, like, I do think that they're a good team in part because of coaching, not in part. That's, of course, every good team is in part because of coaching. I think the Patriots, like, their talent isn't extraordinary, I don't think. So I think with teams like that, when it comes to the playoffs, you're now looking at the best coaches in football every single week. And I think if somebody can tactically neutralize the Patriots, I think you're going to see their talent issues out there. You can put Ravens and shock me. I don't know, man. I just think that between the health issues with Lamar, I feel like the chances are 0. The health issues with Lamar, the coaching issues with just the fact that they do weird things with their coaching staff, and their defensive issues, it just feels like a no way. And again, I think the only reason the Jaguars are not in no chance is because the thing is, bro, they're actually playing good football right now. Like, they beat the shit out of Denver. right? If they were playing not as good, then I would probably put them in no chance. But like they're not going into the playoffs like I'll put it this way, right? They're playing much better football than all the teams in no chance, I think. Bears surprised me. Oh, you rate the Bears pretty highly then. You rate the Bears pretty highly. Um, you know what I was gonna do? Okay, you know what? I'm gonna put the Niners in would shock me. And the reason I'm putting the Niners here is because I still think their defense is trash. I saw what I saw against the Bears. The Bears went up and down the field against them. I still don't think the offensive line is that good. I don't like the weapons. Like I honestly think that team is just the McCaffrey show. The McCaffrey and Shanahan show. Like Purdy's playing well, don't get me wrong, but I don't think Purdy is the driving force of what's happening there. It's about that's very much all CMC and Shanahan and Robert Saleh. So I don't know. I think what I said about the Patriots kind of applies to the Niners to me. I just can't see it happening with how the Niners are set up. Do I put Seattle? No, you know what? I'm going to keep Seattle out of this tier. Okay, so I got the 5 teams that I think have no chance. I got the 5 teams that would shock me if they won a Super Bowl. I have 6 teams left. And what I'm going to do is, hilariously, I'm going to put all these teams in would surprise me. No, here, would surprise me. And then we're going to debate the Rams afterwards, right? But why do all 5 of these teams fall in the would surprise me tier? Because I think all these teams have something that's Super Bowl caliber and something that's a drawback. So one by one, right? Seattle, I think their defense is awesome. It didn't look like it against the Rams, right? You can chalk that up to McVay and Stafford's brilliance, I suppose, and Puka's brilliance too. But the Seahawks have a really good defense, and I think they have a good offensive system. Do I trust Darnold? No. Do I trust the running game because of the offensive line and the way people hate Bradford? Not really, right? But I trust Jackson Smith and Jigba. I trust Kubiak, and I trust the defense. So it's like I look at those parts of the team, and I'm like, that's the Super Bowl part of their team. And then I look at the running game. I look at Darnold. I look at the offensive line. And I'm like, that's the issue, right? So that's kind of where I'm looking at. Like, I think that the teams in this would surprise me tier have a clear part of their team that's Super Bowl caliber and the clear part that's not. For Buffalo, their Super Bowl caliber thing is Josh Allen and James Cook. Between those 2 players running the ball and forming like the best rushing attack in the NFL in terms of yardage, that's Super Bowl caliber. Like Josh Allen is playing like the best player in football. When you have the best quarterback in the NFL in terms of how they're playing right now, and you have the best rush attack, that's an awesome thing to have. Now, again, that's the Super Bowl caliber part of the team. The part of the team that's not Super Bowl caliber is everything else. Like, I don't love their offensive line. I think their offensive line's lack of athleticism showed against Philadelphia, who have a very athletic front. I don't love their weapons. I don't love their defense either. Their defense has ballers here and there, but they can't defend the run really. And they're still relying on a pretty old Trey White. So I think that, again, Buffalo has a clear Super Bowl thing aspect of their roster and some issues. For the Eagles, it's pretty simple, man. Super Bowl caliber defense, and the weakness is the whole offense, right? The offense is incredibly disappointing. It's up and down, and having an up and down offense is the reason why you're going to hold back a little bit when it comes to putting them as a Super Bowl caliber team. Denver and Houston, you know what? I copy paste what I said about both those other teams, man. I think Denver and Houston also have Super Bowl caliber defenses and offenses that I think are big question marks, right? We've seen some good offensive days from Houston and some bad ones. For Denver, I would say we've seen more bad offensive days than good ones. But yeah, with Philly, Denver, and Houston, I would say they all kind of have a similar setup of, I think, Super Bowl caliber defenses and offenses that are probably going to hold them back. So all these teams, to me, again, have a clear part of their team that's ready for the Super Bowl and a clear part that's not. Um, and then that leaves the Rams to put in can win the Super Bowl. Now the Rams are a very interesting team to talk about. What's going on, Caden? I don't got the link because today I'm gonna try to keep this stream like not too long. So I'm just gonna rip through what I came to talk about, and then I'll be out. I'll be back on Saturday to watch the Saturday night game, and there'll be a link for that game. We stand the Dig Brothers. Diggs Brothers says no one. Yo, what a horrible day for them. I've never seen a worse day for a pair of brothers since like Earl Thomas and his brother. Anyways, I'm watching Sixers Grizzlies and bum at it. Oh, my dad's watching Sixers Grizzlies as well, man. Look at you guys. But yeah, okay. The reason I'm putting the Rams in this tier, despite what they've done, is that again, if you think about the way I talked about the teams that would surprise me, right? The thing about the Rams is I don't think there's a part of their team you can look at and say is like specifically the problem. Like the way I talked about the Eagles offense or the Broncos offense or the Texans offense, the way I talked about the Bills defense and their weapons, the way I talked about Sam Darnold, right? There's these glaring issues in all the teams in the would surprise me tier. The reason I can't put the Rams with them is that I don't know if I can identify the part of the Rams that has that issue. I'm fine with Matt Stafford, right? Kyron and Corum don't like. I might not be a huge fan, but it doesn't concern me. Their offensive line doesn't concern me. When Devontae's back, their weapons don't concern me either. When it comes to their defense, I love their defensive front. Linebacking, I don't think is great, but it doesn't concern me. Like there's no point on the Rams. I'm not like somebody who's not a fan of McVay either. Like everything about the Rams, I guess outside of special teams, but obviously their special teams had a good day yesterday. Like I don't necessarily see the issue with the Rams, which is why I think they belong in their own tier. The reason why the Rams are a weird team is that despite the fact that they look the part, they have had some awful games, man. The loss against Philly was horrible. The loss against Seattle was horrible. And then the loss against the Falcons was excruciating for a different reason, I think, because they made a fake comeback, and that's demoralizing in its own way, right? 24, it was a 21-0 game and then a 24-3 game. They made the comeback all the way back to 24-24, and then they blew it and gave up a field goal. Then after that, it looked like Puka made one of the greatest catches of all time, and it turned out to not be the case. Like the Rams have had some excruciating losses. What I came across with the Rams is that they 4 of their 5 losses were on the road, right? So they lost in Atlanta, in Philly, in Carolina, and then they lost somewhere else on the road. Point is, it looks like the Rams might be a team that's not suited to play 3 road games the way it looks like they're going to have to. So I look at these things, and between the way they've lost some ugly games, they're losing 2 games in a row going into the playoffs, and the fact that they have to play road games where they lose all their games, and they don't have to just play 1 road game, it's likely that they'll have to play 3 to get to the Super Bowl. I kind of like, again, I have my issues with them the way I have issues with some of these other teams. At the end of the day, though, I just don't look at their players and see the issue on the roster. So for me, that's the differentiator between them and the rest of the teams here. But yeah, this is what I got. Shout out to General and Caden. So you guys joined in the middle of this exercise. There's a tweet that went viral talking about the contending teams or the playoff teams in the NFL, and like he divided them into these categories. So the teams that can win the Super Bowl, it would surprise me if they won the Super Bowl. It would shock me if they won the Super Bowl, and the teams that have no chance. And this is how I did it, right? Just to quickly catch you guys up on how I broke it down. The no chance teams are teams that it's like, okay, I'm just 1,000% confident that you could never win the Super Bowl this year. The would shock me teams are like, these are teams that I'm very certain won't win the Super Bowl, but I can't lie, like they are playing good football right now. So at the end of the day, they're at an advantage compared to some other teams. And, it's happened in the NFL before where a team that's hot going into the playoffs sustains their momentum and wins games. So like if you think about the Giants' 2 Super Bowls with Eli Manning, they weren't great teams by any means. I would probably put them in the would shock me tier if I was doing this all the way back in the past when they were heading into the playoffs as a 6 seed. But the point is they were hot going into the playoffs and they sustained it, right? I look at the Chargers, Jaguars, Bears, Patriots, and Niners, and I'm like, okay, these teams are playing relatively good football going into the playoffs. So even though I don't think they really have a chance, I can't really act like they're not playing good ball. Whereas these teams are distinctly not playing good ball going into the playoffs, right? That's what distinguishes these teams from these teams. Is that in order? No, it's not in order. The tiers have no order, no. And then the would surprise me tier, the way I look at this team is that I think every team here has a Super Bowl caliber part of their team, and then another part of their team that is questionable, that looks like it might be the thing that holds them back, right? So that's Seattle, Buffalo, Philly, Denver, and Houston. And then again, the Rams belong in their own tier. I think you guys were around to hear me explain why I put the Rams apart. But yeah, that's how I have things going into the playoffs. Yeah, man. Hey, the Grassi Posse Packers, man, they're in a pretty tough spot. They've lost a lot of players. I was scared for you, Caden. I was scared for you, but Caden, did you hear about the impact you guys are gonna have on the playoffs now? Because if you beat the Saints, you could clinch the playoffs for the Falcons. It's a crazy circumstance. Nobody ever thought this was going to happen, but the Falcons actually have a pretty strong control over what happens in that division. Or they might, depending on how the Saturday game goes. Okay, so I'm gonna leave this window open. And I'm going to, you know what, I'll do this. I'm going to pull up the banners and we're going to get through the preview right now. So shout out to everybody in here. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. If you guys want to talk about the rankings at any point, let me know. We can always circle back. But yeah, to preview the football games in Week 18, Panthers, Buccaneers. Buccaneers open as 2.5-point favorites at home. I feel like the Panthers are going to win this game, dude. The Buccaneers are playing awful football right now. Talk about a team that's literally like moonwalking into the playoffs or like into the late part of the year, right? They've won one of their last 8 games, not playing good football at all. And again, we talked about this with the Panthers. They alternate being good and bad. So they had their bad week last week. I think they're going to have their good week this year. If they win, then Atlanta, it doesn't matter what Atlanta does. They win the division regardless. If Tampa Bay wins this game, they need Atlanta to lose in order to win the division. If the Panthers lose, they can still win the division if the Falcons win. It's a crazy circumstance that happened. But yeah, in this game, I just feel like the Buccaneers team is like, it's at this point, it's meant to fall apart because it's falling apart. Like I see it crumbling in front of my eyes. If they somehow win this game and go to the playoffs, they're just going to get baptized in the wild card round. And realistically, the Panthers are probably losing as well. But the thing about the Panthers is that like, it's funny. They could go into the playoffs and then look at the playoff teams and be like, hold on, we beat the Packers. Hold on, we beat the Rams. Like, they've beaten some of these playoff teams. Came very close to beating the Eagles last year. Came very close to beating the Chiefs last year. So, yeah. Panthers, I have them winning this game. Seahawks, Niners. Seahawks opening as road favorites by 1.5 to start like early on in the week. I'm pretty surprised to see that the Seahawks are road favorites. I thought that Vegas would like the Niners, but I think this is basically a representation about how people see the defenses here because the Seahawks defense is pretty well respected. The Niners defense is not at all. So I think that's what you're seeing here with this spread. What I'm surprised about is that it does feel like the Niners are playing better football than the Seahawks right now. Like the Niners offense has scored 40 points 2 weeks in a row now. Now, obviously, a part of that is the defenses because it's not like that this is an elite offense, but they're playing with a ton of confidence right now. And say what you want to say about the Seahawks defense. We watched the Rams score 40 on them. or 38 or whatever. So I say this to say I'm very conflicted about this game. What I'm gonna lean on here is the principle I've been talking about all year, which is that I think if you're gonna bet on a team sweeping a division rival, that team has to be head and shoulders above the other team. I don't think the Niners are head and shoulders above the Seahawks, so I don't have the Niners sweeping the Seahawks. For that reason, I got the Seahawks winning this game and closing out the 1 seed, setting up a very interesting wild card round with the Niners and Rams both having a ton of road games to play with quarterbacks that I think probably would not love to play in the cold. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. Packers Vikings. Okay, this game is going to be horrible because on one side of the ball you have Max Brosmer. I am pretty sure the Packers are going to play their third stringer as well, Clayton Tune. I don't think they're going to rush either quarterback back from injury. So you're going to see third stringer against third stringer, Packers resting all their starters, Vikings easily winning this game because they're probably playing the rest of their starters outside of Brosmer. So Vikings win this game pretty easy. This game, like a thing I'm going to mention when it comes to these games, mentioning whether you should watch them or not, right? So you can watch Panthers Bucks. Both these teams care, and there's something to play for. You can watch Seahawks Niners because both teams are going to be going for it, and there's something that matters. Packers Vikings, you can throw this game in the trash because one team does not care. The Packers don't care at all, so you don't have to you don't have to care about this game at all. Titans at Jaguars. I'm pretty sure both these teams are going to be playing, but the Jaguars are just significantly better than the Titans. Yeah, the 12.5 point favorites. So Vegas likes the Jaguars a lot. The Jaguars are playing for the division. Yeah, the Titans are playing for nothing but just the opportunity to spoil the division for a division rival. Oh, Caden, I'll break that down after this. I got you. It's a funny situation, but I got you. I'll explain it after I do the game previews. Titans Jaguars. Yeah, so the Titans are going to give it their best shot. It's the last game of the year. I long talked about the fact that there's probably one of these layup games that's going to go wrong. For what it's worth, I think that game ended up being the game last night, Falcons Rams. But yeah, I just can't see it for the Titans, man. There's no amount of last game effort and wanting to end the year strong and just playing loose that I think is going to compensate for the Jaguars just being the better football team. So Jags win this easily. I would probably bet them to cover this spread. Just like I bet the Vikings to cover the spread. I would have the Seahawks covering the spread and the Panthers obviously they win, so they have to cover the spread there. But yeah, this game is not going to be good. You don't have to watch it. Colts Texans. No, actually, you know what? This game, if it's close, you could watch it because at least the Titans are going to be trying. What I'm going to identify here is that a lot of these games are going to have teams that aren't trying, such as the Colts, because the Colts they sent Phil Rivers home. Riley Leonard is going to be the starting quarterback against the Houston Texans. So I am taking the Texans by a lot here. I have them covering the 10-point spread. Yeah, Riley Leonard, I don't think he's a good quarterback. And I think he's going to struggle against such a good defense in his first start. So again, this is not a game you have to watch. If they're starting Riley Leonard, they're not taking this game seriously. So Texans by a lot. Cowboys Giants. Now, interestingly about this game, by the way, Dallas hasn't said anything about whether they're going to take this game seriously or not. But this spread was 6 points and it's dropped to 3.5, which leads me to believe that maybe Dallas is going to bench players, or at least maybe bench Dak. I say that to say I still have the Cowboys winning because I don't think the Giants are going to want to win another game and mess their draft pickup any more than they already have. So I think the Giants are going to out-tank the Cowboys. I think both these teams are probably not going to take this game seriously. So this is a game you can definitely shoot into the moon. This game was not going to be taken seriously by the teams, so why should you take it seriously? But I have the Cowboys winning and covering. Browns Bengals. For what it's worth, I think both these teams are going to be trying, and it is a rivalry, Battle of Ohio. So this game might end up being worth watching. But man, if you look at the Bengals, they've been beating up on bad teams down the stretch. So I think they win and cover here. Yeah, they've blown out the Cardinals and the Dolphins now, back-to-back weeks. Yeah, I'm assuming they're gonna keep the trend going. The Browns obviously had a big win against Pittsburgh, so I kind of expect them to follow up a big win with a stinker because that's just standard Cleveland Brown stuff. Um, so yeah, I got the Bengals winning big. Saints and Falcons. So this game got really interesting because the Saints have won 4 games in a row and the Falcons have won 3 games in a row. This is the battle of the South that might impact the division for neither of these teams, and both teams are hot. This is actually a crazy game. Both these teams are going to be trying, man. The Saints definitely are in the like. They have a bunch of young players, and they're in the first year of Kellen Moore's tenure. They have a winning streak going. They're going to take this game seriously. The Falcons, they literally don't have their first round pick, so they have no reason to tank. Both these teams are going to care quite a bit. I initially had the Saints winning, going all the way into like I guess for the last 2-3 weeks, going all the way into like last night. But I saw what the Falcons did against the the Rams, and I thought to myself like, that does not look like a team that's going to lose in Week 18. So I have the Falcons now. I have them winning. I have them winning and covering. Their secondary looked great. The Saints have way worse weapons than the Rams. But yeah, and I think Kirk Cousins is. I think Cousins is quietly playing for opportunities too. By the way, so I think Kirk gets it done, and I think the Falcons end the Saints' hot streak, which basically clinches the division for the Panthers. By the way, but I'll explain that later as Caden has brought up in the chat. Dolphins Patriots. Okay, another game you don't have to care about. Why? Because the Dolphins are starting Quinn Ewers in the cold. You know, like the Dolphins as is struggle in the cold. You then throw in the fact that this quarterback battle is Drake May against Quinn Ewers. This is going to be bad. So Patriots by a lot. I'm pretty sure the Dolphins are not going to take this game too seriously. Then again, maybe Mike McDaniel doesn't want to go out sad. You know what? I think the Dolphins might try, but unfortunately, like they've got their ass kicked. They've got their ass kicked pretty badly these last couple weeks. So Patriots by a lot, and they definitely cover. Cardinals Rams. Okay, interesting game, guys. So when I was pointing out the meaningful games, so like Jaguars Titans, Texans Colts, Bills Jets, Patriots Dolphins, and then this one Rams Cardinals. Those are the 5 games that I said were layups. The 5 meaningful games in Week 18 that I said were layups. And I was asking you guys, what is the layup you think has the best chance of not happening? Like the better team doesn't get the win. And I proposed that it was Rams Cardinals. What I'm realizing is that I was treating Rams Falcons like a layup, and that ended up being the layup that didn't pan out because the Falcons won the game. So I kind of feel proud of the fact that I kind of was suspicious of the Rams going down the stretch, and they lost their layup game, right? They were that game against the Falcons was supposed to be easy work, and they made it look hard. 2-game losing streak for the Rams, back-to-back horrible losses. I can't help but see them win this game. McVay said that they're going to play their starters because they need to build some like momentum and play better. I don't know if the Cardinals have something cooking. They've had some crazy injuries, but like it would be something special if they could hand the Rams a 3rd loss in a row. I can't see it happening, but man, Rams, the pressure is on because they don't have to just win this game. They have to win convincingly. Like if they lose 2 back-to-back horrible games and then beat the Cardinals by like a field goal, it's going to look horrible going into the playoffs. So Rams win this by a lot because I kind of think they have to. Lions Bears. Actually, I lied. Let me check the comments. Go Falcons winless season 2020. Wait, how does that? Is that just general slander? USC TCU is on basketball or football? Because bro, if it's a football bowl game, I'm pretty sure none of the good players are playing. Lions Bears. Okay, so interesting subplot here, right? Lions have absolutely nothing to play for, but they are not a bench everybody kind of an organization, right? Dan Campbell is not that kind of person. So they're going to be playing their starters is my understanding. And the other reason that like they have to play their starters is because this is the Ben Johnson rivalry now. And the thing is, the way people are talking about Detroit, I think they're going to want to beat Ben Johnson way more than you might expect, right? Because basically the word on the Lions is that Ben Johnson was the reason everything was good, and now that he's gone, you guys suck. And I think having to hear that is going to make them want to beat Ben Johnson really bad. Now, I think the fact that he left them for a division rival already had them wanting to beat Ben Johnson because they scored 50 on the Bears. Their by far their best offensive performance came in a hate opportunity to hate him, right? It brought out the best in them. Now, after having to listen to probably at this point 5-6 weeks of, you know what, Ben Johnson left and now the Lions are fucked. I think the Lions are gonna pour their everything into this game. On the other side of things, I think the Bears, they said they're playing starters. They have to play for the 2 seed, right? Like you would much rather want to play the Packers than like the Rams or the Niners. I think this is going to be a game of 2 teams that really, really want it. That's going to be sensational. I think this is actually one of the better games. That's one of the better non-primetime games of the week. When it comes to the Bears, though, they're going to be providing horrible conditions for the Lions to play in. And I don't think the Lions or Jared Goff like that shit. So I think the Bears get the edge of the better of Detroit in this game. The other part of this rival, like this divisional matchup is, and I've said it a lot, I think you have to be much better than the other team for me to think that you're going to sweep them. The Lions beat them the first time. Do I think the Lions are head and shoulders above the Bears as a football team? No. So I can't say that they're going to sweep the Bears. I got the Bears winning this game. I think Jared Goff looks sad in the cold. And I think this is going to be an incredibly uncomfortable offseason for the Lions. But give me the Bears and give me them covering as well. Jets and Bills. This is going to be the last game, most likely, unless the Bills somehow host a playoff game. But I don't think it's possible. I think it looks like they're going to be the 6th seed. So that means the only team they could host is the Chargers. So unless we have a Bills-Chargers AFC Championship game, this is going to be the last game ever at Ralph Wilson Stadium, which is now New Era Stadium. The Bills are going to be wearing throwback uniforms. The Jets are sad. The Jets just got their shit kicked in New York. What's going to happen in Buffalo, of all places? I think it's going to be cold. I think I think the Bills are going to win by like 30. I think this is going to be belt to ass. If they don't win by 30, it's because they're up like 25 at halftime, and then they put Mitch Trubisky in for the second half. But I think this is going to be bad. And again, this is a game you guys do not have to watch. Chiefs Raiders. Okay, the Raiders secured the number 1 overall pick. Not secured it. They put themselves in the position to get the number 1 overall pick by losing last week. I don't think they mess it up. I think they are one of the most obvious tanking teams in the NFL. They put Max Crosby and Brock Bowers on IR. I think they've given up in a way that no other team has given up. And I don't think they're going to mess this up by beating the Chiefs. So I think the Raiders are just going to out-tank the Chiefs. I still think Kelsey is retiring. So I think the Chiefs are going to want to win one last game for Kelsey. So yeah, that's how I see it going. I think the Chiefs get the W here. I think the Raiders will sabotage themselves if they need to. So that being said, this is another game where one team probably isn't trying, and for that reason, you don't have to watch this game. Give me the Chiefs winning by like 7. Okay, Chargers Broncos. This is another game that you don't have to care about. Why? Because the Chargers basically said, we're going to take the 7 seed, right? Again, the Chargers are in competition with Houston and Buffalo in the wild card spots. Houston is going to beat up on Riley Leonard, a 3rd-string quarterback. The Bills are going to beat up on Brady Cook, a 3rd-string quarterback. Unfortunately for the Chargers, they don't have an easy matchup. They have the team fighting for the 1 seed. And they basically said that with Herbert having issues with his hand, obviously that he's been able to play through, he could probably benefit from a week off. And if you're going to take Herbert out, you may as well take every other starter out. So that's what they did. The Chargers have basically decided to lay down and take the 7 seed, which simultaneously hands Denver the 1 seed, by the way. So the Chargers essentially said, give me New England on wild card weekend. We're going to go to Foxborough. Very interesting call from the Chargers. I don't think it's the wrong one. It's just interesting and bold. But yeah, if they played their starters, it's not like they would have had a soft matchup, right? Denver's a really, really tough matchup in Denver. But yeah, this is a game you don't have to watch because Denver is going to be playing for the 1 seed, so they're going to be all out. And the Chargers are going to put Trey Lance out there. So I don't think you have to care about this game at all. Give me Denver by like 20. Actually, you know what? Denver's offense might not be good enough for that. But then again, they're playing backups. Yeah, Denver by 20. Big blowout. That brings us to our last game to preview of the year in the regular season. Ravens and Steelers in Pittsburgh. Ravens are 3.5-point road favorites. Very interesting matchup because there's so many things at play. The Steelers suck in prime time. The Ravens kind of suck in Pittsburgh. The Steelers, are they good enough to sweep the Ravens? Is Lamar, who's better, a healthy Tyler Huntley or an injured Lamar Jackson? Is Derrick Henry going to get 25 touches? Because if he does, I feel like they're guaranteed to win. Like, there's a lot of interesting things at play. Is TJ Watt going to play? Can the Steelers cope without DK Metcalf? This is a fascinating game from a narrative standpoint. My pick is the Ravens. I've been picking them in this matchup, I would say, ever since they lost to Pittsburgh the first time around. Again, a very simple principle, and I bring it up a lot. If you're going to tell me that you're going to sweep your division rival, I have to think that you're much better than them to believe you. I do not think the Steelers are much better than the Ravens. Therefore, I don't see them sweeping the Ravens. The primetime Steelers, I think, are going to strike, and I have the Ravens winning this game. And this is something I really think about, right? Like, I'm super comfortable with Tyler Huntley playing. I'm not saying that that I hope that doesn't get taken as a criticism of Lamar because I'm a big Lamar fan. I have a Lamar jersey. I just think that if he's not healthy, give me Tyler Huntley. Why? Because when you have Tyler Huntley on the field, I know for a fact Derrick Henry is going to get the ball 30 times. And I know for a fact Huntley is going to run and be able to run. So this is the thing, right? Like, give me Tyler Huntley and Derrick Henry in the backfield running read options as much as possible. And I think they figure it out, man. I think missing DK Metcalf, missing DK Metcalf is going to be crucial for the Steelers. And yeah, I think the Ravens figure it out. So I got the Ravens, and I expect it to be a low-scoring game, but I expect them to cover the 3.5. So I feel like this is like a 17-13 kind of a game, but I got the Ravens winning. All right, so my guy Ravens fan is here. Man said run the ball. This is facts. They need to run the ball. Okay. Now I'm gonna share a different screen to explain to Caden. I don't know. Yo, Caden, are you still here? Yeah, you are. I'm gonna explain what you were asking about earlier. Because I don't know if you guys saw this, but because the Falcons beat the Rams, that division is completely fucked. All right, let me reset this, right? Give me the division. Give me the division outlook. All right, week 18, right? Cool. Look at this division here. 8-8, 7-9, 7-9. So let's put Tampa Bay as the winner. Tampa Bay wins the matchup against Carolina, guys. Hooray! They're in first place, right? Because if they're 8-9 and the Panthers are 8-9, the divisional records are both 3-3. I'm pretty sure the next tiebreaker is conference record, and the Bucks must have a better conference record. So yay! They're the division winners. But here's what happens if the Falcons at 7-9 get a win to make it a 3-way tie. If the Falcons win, guess what that does? That puts Carolina back at the top of the division. You might ask, well, how is that the case? How can the Panthers lose, fall to second place, and then go back to first place because Atlanta won? Why? Because if this is a 3-way tie, the tiebreaker becomes head-to-head between this group of 3 teams. And basically the thing that wins them the division here is the fact that they swept Atlanta, right? The Buccaneers went 1-1 against both these teams. So their record in this group is 2-2. The Panthers went 1-1 against Tampa in this situation, but they swept Atlanta. So their record is 3-1 in this group. Obviously, the Falcons' record is 1-3 because they got swept by Carolina. So this is the hilarious thing. if the Buccaneers beat the Falcons on Saturday, sorry, if the Buccaneers beat the Panthers on Saturday, they go to number 1 in the division for Saturday night. But if the Falcons then make a 3-way tie on Sunday, the fact that the Panthers smacked the Falcons twice is going to get them the division, which is insane. But that's what's going to happen. Crazy. But yeah, so again, like the games are the Panthers game is on Saturday, the Falcons game is on Sunday. So it could very well happen where the Buccaneers beat the Panthers, they go up to 8-9 and in first place of the division for Saturday night, and then Atlanta on Sunday could win a game and drag them back down to second simply because they create a 3-way tie with a team that they got swept by. So the Falcons have the ability to win the Panthers division. Now, okay, of course, this whole thing becomes a thing if the Buccaneers win. So let me take this away. If the Panthers win, then they're 9-8, and it doesn't matter what Atlanta does. If the Panthers win on Saturday, then Atlanta's game against New Orleans has no playoff implications at all. It doesn't matter. But if the Buccaneers win, we've now entered this hilarious place where the Falcons can show up and mess the Buccaneers party up. So that's the situation I was talking about earlier, Caden. Nobody thought about this. Nobody saw this coming because nobody expected the Falcons to beat the Rams. So that's why we're here. This is crazy. I kind of can't believe this happened. And I'm so grateful that the NFL has these like insane situations. But yeah, imagine that, right? The Buccaneers win their first place in the division at night, and then they have to show up the next morning and pray to God that the Saints win. They have to all become Tyler Shuck fans. So that's that on that, people. We ranked the playoff teams. So if you missed that, go back to the front of the stream to catch that. We previewed week 18, and then I explained to you the absolutely chaotic playoff situation that that exists in the NFC South. So I'm going to end the stream here, people. Short stream. I just wanted to check in with you guys midweek. I'll be back Saturday night for Seattle and San Francisco. And then I'll be back Sunday night as well for Steelers Ravens. And then after that, for the playoffs, I'm going to stream as much as I can for as many games as I can make it for. But yeah, we're going to be seeing a lot of each other for the next little bit. Shout out to everybody in here. I'll catch you guys later. Good luck to everybody's teams. And I'll see you guys on the other side. Take care. As always, Stephen A. Smith is going to take us out.
Y'all take it easy. I'm out.